Some spreadsheet engineering skills. We started with this example where we were looking at the profit we would make by taking a product that we purchased in different cities in the US to these different cities in Europe. We were paying for our product in dollars, and then we were being paid for that product in euros, and this was our exchange rate. So first thing we did is figured out how to calculate the reward in dollars, which is just the euro reward times the dollars per euro. And remember, we locked this cell here at B1, or alternatively, we could name cell B1. I'm just going to go ahead and lock that and copy that down. Other things we did, just to remind ourselves about cell styling, these are inputs, these are inputs, these are all inputs, and this is a calculation. The next thing we did is we wanted to make sure that we could calculate this in a pretty simple way. So we moved this down using, on a Mac, Control-Command-V, or on a PC, Alt-HVS, and then hitting E to transpose this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that twice. So copy, Control-Command-V, E for transpose. And that let us do a pretty quick calculation here, which is the amount that we get rewarded is the amount that we paid in Brindisi, but we want to make sure that when we copy that down, it stays in column C when we copy that to the right, and we subtract out what we paid in Charleston, and again we want that to stay in 12. So we copy our data like that, and then we can copy this all the way down. So there's our table. We can do some conditional formatting and do a color scale if we want to show high and low prices. Other things that we saw were how to do a sum and a max over this entire data set here. I'm going to go ahead and make these calculation of some sort, an output. So we can do a sum, which is just the sum of this whole area. And if we do control and down, or control and the single quote, we can copy the formula from above and then just edit it as we need to. All right, so other thing that we saw was what price the euro, dollars per euro needed to be in order for this Cinque Terre to be a break-even product, break-even route. And we did that by going to data analysis, what if analysis, and goal seek. And we're going to set this Charleston to Cinque Terre profit to the value of 0 by changing the exchange rate. And we see we need it to be about 1.55, 1.552 in order for this to be break-even. All right. Then we moved on to the two-way data table. In a one-way data table, we were looking at how does this safety stock calculation change based on different lead times. So we'll run through that real quick. We're going to copy these lead times from over here, and we'll put it right here. So these are my lead times, and I'm just going to link to my safety stock calculation here. And go ahead and style that one as a linked cell. Now to create my data table, I select my data, and I go to data, what if analysis, data table, and I have a column input cell that points to the lead time. So what this will do is it will put the lead time of 1, replace that here, copy that into B2, recalculate this formula, and whatever this formula is here in B14 will get copied down to 15. So that's where these numbers come from here. Now, one-way data table shows you how your formula varies based on one change of input, but I'm going to go ahead and do 2 changes of input. So I'm going to cut with Command X and paste with Command V, and then I'm going to copy my service level over. So Command Control V, E to transpose. So now I have my lead time on the left and my service level across the top. And it's a similar idea as what we just did. We select everything, making sure that the formula that we want to calculate is in the top left corner now. And we do what if analysis, data table. My row input cell is now this row, right? So what cell would I like to change here? That's the service level. And my column input cell is what I would like to plug these in. So that is my lead time. So I hit enter. And there I get all of my different safety stock calculations for this problem. We then moved on to building out a receipt where we had different items, these items here on the item data tab, and we were creating an order for my friend Jason. And for this, we wanted to use VLOOKUP. So I'm first going to come over to my item data. I'm going to select that item data and rename that tab items. That's going to make life a little bit easier for me when I create my VLOOKUP over here. So now I can do a VLOOKUP where I want to look up the item number in that tab items tab, returning the second column, and I want it to be an exact match. So that's going to let me see all of those. That formula is basically identical for calculating the cost. So I'm going to look up the bib number. I'm going to do that in the tab items, and I'm going to return the third column this time, again with an exact match. So that's going to give me all my prices. I may format these as dollars. So the total amount that we get is using a sum product, which is going to do an easier calculation for us. What this is going to do is C4 times D4 plus C5 times D5 plus C6 times D6. It's going to do that all in one calculation. We can also do a match here. Match, remember, lets us find out where does this letter occur in this list. So we can do match of our lookup value within this list of letters. So match of D7, A2 to A27. That's going to let us try different letters, and we find out where they occur. The nice thing about this is we can come back to our order for JSON data, and we think about what item is. We were looking up the second, right? This number 2 is showing up because this item is the second word in this list of headers for our items table. So now I can change this formula where instead of the 2, I can do a match that looks for item, and I'm going to lock that to where it stays on row 3. So I'm going to be able to copy that over to the right, but it will always stay at row 3 when I copy it down. I'm going to look for that in the headers of my item data table, and I'm going to lock that completely down so when I copy that, it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to make this an exact match. So now I've got something that I could copy all the way down. The other thing I can do is I can change this A4 to be locked on A. So when I copy it to the right, it'll always go with it'll always go with A. So I can take this formula, I can copy it from here all the way down, and I can also copy it over to here, and it's going to automatically look for the third row, or the third column, which has cost. So with one formula, I can do all of these together. The last thing we did was look at pollution levels. So for our pollution levels example, we were going to show a VLOOKUP with an approximate. So we want this pollution level, which is 68 in Annapolis, to have the code of orange. But we don't want to have an exact VLOOKUP because that's going to require us to have all of these numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, everything. So what we can do instead is recreate this table. 0 is green, anything from 25 up is yellow, and then 50 is our next boundary with orange, and 75 with red. So we need these numbers over here to go in increasing order for this to work. But if we have that, then we can do a pretty easy approximate VLOOKUP for filling in this code. I'm going to go ahead and name this tab codes just to make our lives a little bit easier. And then our VLOOKUP, we're looking up this pollution level in our codes tab. We're returning the second column, and we want this to be an approximate match. The approximate match is going to look, and it's going to say, what is the largest number that is smaller than the number I'm looking for? So in this case, I'm looking for the number 68, and the largest number in this list that is smaller than 68 is the number 50, so it's going to return orange, which is exactly what we want. And we can just copy that all the way down, and that is everything we covered for the day.